All right, good day, everybody. It is Thursday, April the 14th, 2022. Let me adjust this camera. This drives me crazy. All right, like my head's popping out of the screen, drives me nuts. Yeah, a lot of things in the news today that I want to talk about. But the biggest one that I want to give you this morning is the great news that we put out last night uh, on the big show. So we are now part of Frank Speech. We're now on Frank Speech. You guys can now go to frankspeech.com. You can go to the TV or to the podcast and find us there. We're under Liberty Warrior Nation on Frank Speech. We are going to have an opportunity here real soon to start going live from Frank Speech. So I just encourage you guys to go over there and check that out. Make that part of your daily routine. There's lots of great information and other great podcasts and TV shows over there on Frank Speech. And Mike Lindell has been so kind to extend an invitation to us. We accepted it about 3 weeks ago. We've been working with his team behind the scenes to make LWN the best that it possibly can be. So, congratulations to the LWN team and to all of you viewers and listeners out there that have helped get us this far. Thank you so much for that. So, with that being said, I'm going to hit the first headline. We're going to talk about the New York shooter, still in the news, pretty big deal. And we're going to talk about the sale of illegal firearms. New York City subway shooting suspect bought a handgun legally in 2011. ABC News reports that law enforcement sources indicated that New York City subway shooting suspect Frank James bought his handgun legally in 2011. James allegedly used a Glock 9mm semi-automatic handgun, which he purchased legally in 2011 in Ohio. Fox News notes that the handgun was purchased at a pawn shop in Columbus, Ohio. A purchase from the pawn shop is considered a retail purchase and therefore requires a national instance criminal background check system, which is an NICS check to be performed. All of this is applied through the law enforcement and says that the gun was purchased legally. Now, they put out a list of all the other incidents that have happened over multiple years here in 2000, and every one of these attacks was the weapons that were used were purchased legally. So why are we talking about this? Well, we're talking about this because, like I said, Monday, the administration came out and said that they wanted stricter gun laws, that's going to stop criminals, stricter gun laws. I don't believe in that one bit. So the news at New York City shooting suspect James bought this gun legally came one day after New York Mayor Eric Adams, a Democrat, called for a ban on so-called ghost guns in response to the subway attack. Banning so-called ghost guns would not in any way prohibit the legal purchase of a firearm from a pawn shop or any other gun retail shops, period. Cabela's, Sportsman's Warehouse, they can go in there legally, purchase these guns. And don't forget, they can also go on the black market and purchase these guns and sometimes acquire them illegally. So just more of the same. Let's hit the next headline. Trump's first major midterm donation aims to unseat Brian Kemp in Georgia. This is a pretty lengthy article out of Breitbart. Former President Donald Trump Political Action Committee recently poured $500,000 into Georgia's Republican Gerber national primary race in the effort to unseat incumbent Governor Brian Kemp. Trump's Save America PAC donated $500,000 to anti-Kemp group called Get Georgia Right, Politico first reported. Federal election data shows the payment was made on March 25th, marking the first major financial contribution from Trump as he makes his campaign in this election cycle. Trump, who was quick to endorse former Senator David Perdue in the race, when he launched his campaign in December, has been highly vocal about his grievances with Kemp over Georgia's 2020 election process. Now, listen to this, folks. This man is not stupid. So there's a reason why he's endorsing certain people and he's trying to unseat other people. Again, I still think there's something to be said about 2020, and I think it hasn't fully been engaged yet. I think they're set up, they're prepped, they're ready, they're poised and ready to go. And after the midterms in 2022, we could see some real action happening. That's the hope that I have. Both the president and the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., have rallied in the Peach State on behalf of Purdue. Trump held an expensive fundraiser in Mar-a-Lago in March to boost Purdue, whom Kemp has significantly outraised in the race, according to the most recent financial reports. It goes in and it starts talking about other people that Trump is working against. One I find very interesting and I support 100% outside of Georgia and another top priority target on Trump's, whom the former president is expected to direct big dollars toward unseating as Representative Liz Cheney, a Republican from Wyoming. Don't forget, Liz Cheney was one of the 10 Republicans who defected from the party to vote to impeach Trump last year over the U.S. Capitol January 6th event. The Wyoming Republican has attracted enormous disapproval from most of her fellow Republicans in Congress as she has relentlessly attacked Trump for the J6 and her rhetoric about the 2020 election. So I'm telling you right now, this woman needs to be replaced immediately, along with Mitt Romney and the rest of the traitors, the rest of the Communist Party, to be frank. Those people are completely worthless. And I keep saying this over and over again because Utah is a very close neighbor of mine here in Idaho, south of me. The people of Utah need to stand up and remove Mitt Romney immediately. Get him out of office. He's doing no good for any American. All right, let's talk about more of the Democrats' failures. Quote, we've done effing horrible, in quote. Democrats blame messaging for failures. Now, this is coming from the Democrat Party. Democrats who consistently had messaging problems through the current election cycle have now blamed messaging itself for their failures months before the general election. Now, what are they talking about? Well, Democrats across the country are claiming that they have done a lousy job on highlighting their accomplishments in a year, plus unifying power in Washington. And they are using that as a source as their problems lead up to the November midterm elections, according to The Hill. Now, this goes a little bit further. It starts talking about Hillary Clinton and some of the quotes coming out of the Democrat Party that they've quoted to The Hill. In fact, the Democrats believe they are so much trouble at one of the strategists told The Hill, I'm not going to BS. We've done a horrible job. And something that we think we deserved to lose big in November. Democrats can say whatever they want, but it's not honest. The strategist added that the Democrats need to wake up fast because they have nothing to push as a narrative. Now, Hillary Clinton has also made comment, and so has Barack Obama. Even Hillary Clinton, who knows about failing when she lost against former President Donald Trump in 2016 and is rumored to be making a return, said that her party needs to get better at touting accomplishments. Now, I want to pause there for just a minute, and I'm probably not going to read any further in this article. My question to Hillary and the rest of the Democrat Party, including the current so-called administration and the shell of a man who is supposed to be the president of the United States. I'm scratching my head here. I'm trying to figure out what accomplishments are you talking about? Where's the list of accomplishments that you guys have been effective with in the last almost 2 years? Are you talking about the $1.9 trillion spending bill? Are you talking about the 1.2 stimulus package? Is that the accomplishments that you're talking about? Overspending, forcing us into higher inflation? Are you talking about Biden inflation? Are you talking about Afghanistan debacle when we pulled our civilians and our troops out of Afghanistan? Are you talking about the southern border and the border crisis? Is that your accomplishments that you're talking about? Because I'd sure like to know what accomplishments are you talking about, Hillary Clinton? Because I don't see them. All right, next headline. Let's talk more about the White House. The White House refuses to take responsibility for the historic inflation. We had to spend trillions to prevent economic spiral. Now, this is coming out of the press secretary for the White House, the circle back girl. The White House on Wednesday rejected the idea that President Joe Biden was wrong to spend trillions of dollars after taking office, despite historical levels of inflation that followed. White House press secretary Jen Psaki blamed inflation on the pandemic, snarled supply chains, and Russian President Vladimir Putin for forcing energy prices higher by invading Ukraine. Now, just a second here, press secretary. If I remember correctly, and I could probably go back and show photos and videos and all the documentation, that gas prices actually started spiraling out of control last year when you guys closed the Keystone Pipeline, when you guys took away all the permits for fracking here in America, and we went from energy independent to energy dependent now, when you guys went to OPEC and started begging for more production out of OPEC, when you went to Venezuela and asked them for more barrels of crude oil. How is that Vladimir Putin's responsibility for higher energy costs? You are a liar. That's all I'm going to say. You are a liar. The administration is lying. You guys wouldn't know the truth if it slapped you across the face. All right, next headline. Let's talk about the Republicans ripping the hypocrisy from the Biden administration. Republicans rip hypocritical Biden travel mask mandate extension, the sickness over illegals at the border, not Americans on planes. What's this all about? We've been talking about it here at LWN for quite a while. Republicans blast the Biden administration following reports that the nationwide mask mandate for public transit will be extended another 2 weeks. One lawmaker called the move hypocritical, while others highlight the ineffectiveness of the mandate, as well as the recent announcement of lifting Title 42 as public health provisions that serves as essential tool in combating the spread of the sickness and controlling the influx of migrants at the southern border. Now, Twitter blew up yesterday completely. There's so many comments on Twitter about this, how it's just the hypocrisy from this administration where they're allowing illegals to freely roam America, non-tested, non-vacationed. They don't even know where half these people are going. And they can travel freely across America. But you and me, if I needed to jump on a plane today and fly to Dallas, Texas, I am going to have to comply to the mandates. And no, I won't. I'm not going to comply. I'd rather walk there than if I had to fly and wear a mask. But like I said, Twitter blew up all about the crisis at the border and how the hypocrisy of this administration continues to thicken. All right, next headline, last two. We're going to get out of here for today. The White House welcomes free to travel migrants to Washington, D.C. White House on Wednesday welcomed migrants to Washington, D.C. after Texas Governor Greg Abbott chartered a bus to send them to the nation's capital. It's nice that Texas is helping them get to their final destination, end quote, from White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki during her daily briefing. These people like to spin all kinds of things. Listen to some of this. Fox News reported that the migrants transported to D.C. are citizens of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Psaki reassured the public that all migrants have been processed by the CBP, U.S. Customs Border Protection, and are free to travel. End quote. Did you just hear what she said? They are free to travel. But the American citizen is not. The United States, as they await their asylum claim court hearings. Now, I'm here to tell you, because I've reported this several times, they let them go free here in America trying to tell them that they have to come back in 2 weeks for hearings. They don't show up. Not only do they not show up, but this administration has no idea where they're at. So they can't even go look for them or find them or apprehend them. When one reporter asked if the administration was in contact with the migrants traveling to Washington, D.C. to ensure their safety, Psaki said that it would be up to them to report mistreatment. Now, Governor Greg Abbott has gone on record to say by busing migrants to Washington, D.C., the Biden administration will be able to more immediately meet the needs of the people that they are allowing to cross our border. Of course, Psaki comes back and twists all that stuff. And we know how she likes to always push it off onto somebody else. It's never the administration's fault. It's Border Patrol's fault. It's this person's fault. It's that person's fault. You got to love Circle Back Girl. All right, last headline of today. And I will push this over to Frank Speech. If you guys want to follow us over to Frank Speech, go to frankspeech.com. We'll be over there under Liberty Warrior Nation, just like we are here on YouTube and Facebook. Parents march on Disney to protect studios' woke LGBTQ plus agenda for children. I love seeing this. I love seeing parents unite. I love seeing activists out there fighting back on this nonsense that they're trying to indoctrinate our children with. Hundreds of concerned parents and activists converged on Disney's Anaheim, California, Wednesday evening to protest Walt Disney Company's woke agenda that includes targeting children with racial, gay, and transgender ideology. Their demands included a consumer boycott of Disney at the end to the left's sexual indoctrination of our young children. The peaceful protest was organized by Hold the Line, the Christian activist group that spearhead last week's demonstration at Disney Corporation headquarters in Burbank on Wednesday when they joined by members of Turning Point USA and conservative nonprofit headed Charlie Kirk. They were recorded chanting boycott Disney, boycott Disney. Hold the Line leader Sean said that the group has gathered 50,000 signatures for a petition demanding Disney stop trying to indoctrinate our children. Disney cast members also spoke out against the company's political lurch to the left, which really puts a target on their back, to be honest with you. But the last week, the group rallied hundreds of protesters in front of Disney's corporate headquarters in Burbank. Some of the demonstrators chanted boycott Disney, while a woman who identified herself as a conservative Disneyland worker spoke out the difficulty of working for the company as someone who holds conservative values. Now, I'm reading further into this article because I want you guys to also understand this. The CEO of Disney, I want to read some of the things that he said. Recently leaked initial video showed Disney leaders speaking candidly about their plans to incorporate racial LGBTQ ideology into their TV shows and movies for children. In the company meeting, they spoke about embracing transgenderism and introducing more queer characters into Disney content. Disney CEO Bob also vowed to continue fighting Florida's parental rights in education law, saying the company will work to get the law repealed. He has also promised to fight similar legislation in other states that would seek to protect the youngest children in schools from being taught sexual and gender ideology. But the company's hard left turn is backfiring among ordinary Americans. Why is that? Well, as Breitbart News reported, a recent poll found that more than 68% of general election voters are less likely to do business with Disney as a result to the studio's new commitment to woke LGBTQ activism. A backlash isn't just among conservatives. Among independents, 73% said that they were less likely to do business with Disney, while more than 48% of Democrats said the same thing. So there you go, folks. A lot of people fighting back. Democrats are also joining the fight against this indoctrination of our children, this ideology. And I couldn't be prouder to say that I'm an American today and a patriot. That's the headline hits for today. Don't forget to come out and support the ladies of Liberty tonight. Tammy the Hammer Nation, Mary Kay, and Scad Warrior 2. God bless. Have a great day, folks.